Top of the morning to all. Well, it's the first words I've spoken today out loud. Forgot to check the voice. Bro, knock that morning crust off the vocal cords. Hello, good morning. Hello, 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 and hello. I look like a medieval peasant to you? I guess I don't see it. How pissed am I feeling this morning? Not much. Today was not a morning where I woke up on altogether the wrong side of the bed. I think I slept okay last night. I'm not super pissed. Ever thought about trying your hand as a playwright since you love theater? Yeah. I co-wrote a couple of plays back in high school, one act, with my friend Rodney. To be frank with you, he was the more talented playwright of the two of us. He was actually selected to go to the CalArts campus in Valencia, not for his monologue, but for his script writing. But he and I wrote a couple of scripts together. There were comedy plays. I actually read one of them to you guys one night. I did like a script reading because I found the script to Star Stare, which was like a Star Trek parody one act that we did. Yeah. There was that. And then there was one that definitely wouldn't go over well today, just on the face of the name of it. But I'll tell you guys what the name was. I mean, fuck, I helped write it in 1996, so you have to forgive. It was called Southern Tards, and it was about two mentally challenged guys who lived together in the South having talks. Wasn't meant to necessarily make fun of them, but it kind of did. Our screenwriter going to be interviewed next week about potentially writing a feature. Dope. I don't know. Petition to have Southern Tards performed live? I don't think so, dude. Doing a trial version of The Surge. Cool. Well, I hope you enjoy it. If you ever do a meetup, you should get the guys to help you enact one of the plays. Oh my god, no. I performed part of Star Stare, and I think that's about as close as I want to get to summoning something from the other side into the world. I don't want to unleash those plays upon the world. Stimmy came in, so here's a little dough. Well, thank you, Saint. Your beard is looking particularly resplendent on this fine morning. Why, thank you. It's a wee bit chilly. It's been kind of drizzly rainy here. We went through this period where like the temperature wasn't dropping as far, and I thought, man, dude, short winter. But no, winter's back. It was just a nice little break where it was comfortable to sit out here. It's okay. When I was young, I wrote about a team of criminals, one deaf, one mute, and it was mildly ableist. Wasn't there a, wait a minute, wasn't there a movie about that? There was a movie about that with Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder called Hear No Evil, See No Evil, I think, where Gene Wilder was blind and Richard Pryor was deaf. I don't think that movie would fly today, but it was pretty goddamn funny. Do you prefer this over the computer streams? Right now I do. I do because I can sit outside and do it, and that's nice. I like to spend, when I'm not working and stuff, because I spend a lot of time sitting in front of my computer inside for my job. When I'm not working, and I know technically, I guess this is part of my work, but I don't really look at Highdeology as the same thing. It's part of my free time, I guess, that I choose to spend with you guys. And, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. I can't even remember what the question was that started it. Oh, yeah, the computer streams. Yeah, no, I like sitting outside. I like getting out a little bit. I like being out in nature and hearing the sounds and the birds and the fresh air and all that shit. It helps. Live in the UK. Great to catch one of these lives, but we have socialism here, and I live in social housing. It's infested with rodents. Had to go to bed paranoid every night. It's near Dickensian. Mate, you've got to get out of the old public house, don't you? Rats as big as the cats in there, they are. I'm sorry to hear that, bro. I've lived in a place that had some rat residents in it, and it's not fun. That's what you get for being born British. Yeah, what that guy said. Well, you could always move to America, where our tenement houses are probably more likely to have roaches than rats, I've lived in two places that had a roach problem. It's pretty common in the United States. The first place that I lived in where I had to battle roaches was the condo that I bought. The condo was part of a 4-building complex. I owned, or part of a 4-room complex, but all one giant building separated by walls. And so, one of our neighbors, I'm pretty sure it was our direct next door neighbor on the downstairs side, they were just filthy. And so roaches, if there are roaches in one kitchen in a building, there are going to be roaches in another. And there's really nothing you can do about it when you live in a situation like that. So other than just fight the roaches. So that's what we did. And it sounds really fucking gross. But once you've lived in that situation for a while, it's not like you stop being grossed out by it or stop taking care of it, but it stops like, I don't know, it stops like bothering you as much as it did. It still bothers you, but it's not something that, like, you learn to live with it. But I'm telling you, once I moved out of that place, it was enough for me to go, like, never again. Like, I'll never live in a place that's got a fucking roach infestation again. It's just not going to happen. So when I moved to Texas, and that first night me and Ashley moved in, there were roaches all over everything, and we hadn't even moved in yet. We just basically pulled a mattress in there and some boxes of clothes. I was like, nope, that's that. We're not doing that no more. And so yeah, I've been lucky since then to not live in a place that had a roach infestation. That being said, when I lived in Louisiana, you see a roach every once in a while. I mean, Louisiana is like roach central. But yeah, been through that, not doing it again. What are we talking about? Living in a place that's got roaches, Missy. Good morning. Good morning. In Miami, we have giant flying roaches. Awesome. Awesome. I think all roaches can technically fly. They've got wings and shit. I don't like them. I don't want them. I got a hornet nest under the roof. Really cool animals. Yeah, hornets are cool. Like any kind of communally living, kind of like what do they call it, colony insect or whatever, is a pretty interesting little creature. But hornets are also evil. They're straight from Satan's asshole, so you must destroy them. I breed dubia roaches for my monitor lizard, and they're basically beetles that can't fly or climb anything. That's nice. Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting those types of roaches, you know. There are two different, when you have roaches, you learn that there are two different types of roaches that you can get. The Asian cockroach and the German cockroach. And the German cockroach is the worst. German cockroaches are the lighter brown, about yay big roaches. And if you see one or two of those in your house, you better move or call the fucking exterminator, because if there's one or two of those crawling around, there's probably a million of them in your house. Asian roaches do come inside and sometimes will come into people's houses, but they're less likely to cause an infestation. They prefer to be outside. So if you see and the Asian roaches are larger usually than the German roaches are, and they're darker. They're like black. Not almost black, you know, kind of like darker brown, really dark brown / black. And they're fatter. But, so they might be on the face of it a little grosser to look at, but they're the ones that you don't really care that much about. If you see one of those in your house, chances are it just wandered in from outside somewhere. It was just, following some food from outside, and you kill it. There's probably not a million of them in your house. Hornets don't bother me. They're just curious explorers. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. When they curiously explore you all over your body with their fucking multiple sting-capable stingers and shit, it'll get really fun, man. It'll be a really curious explorer day for you. Can't move to the U.S. as I'm attracted to teenage boys, which is legal here, but makes me 80 years in jail there. Oh, Leon. Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. You have a problem, my friend. All the rats on the pet trade used for snake food, labs, etc., all originate from Norway, and they're all over the damn place now. Yeah, I want to give you 80 years in prison now. Can I come to your country and give you 80 years in prison? What the fuck, dude? Who super chats such a thing? That is a critical lack of self-awareness that you've got there, my friend. Is that a British thing? Fuck if I know, dude. You got me, bro. Yeah. Yeah, somebody call Chris. Tell him to take a trip to England. And the award for most uncomfortable super chat of the year goes to... We don't have American Puritanism there. Well, it sounds like you need some. Sounds like the eagle needs to soar and land wherever the fuck you are. And start instituting some good old freedom. That would be an invasion that I would support. Let's put it that way. But you do you, man. That thar be a troll, I think ye be right. Leon just become a priest? Maybe he is a priest. How do we not know? Maybe Leon is a priest. I was literally falling asleep to this, and that super chat did what no cup of coffee could ever do. Yeah. It's like, excuse me? Probably a priest. Yeah, probably. Sounds like a priest to me. Part of me kind of hopes it rains again today, and part of me kind of hopes it doesn't. Blows over. Yeah, yeah. They're booking my stream into evidence against you now. Good job. Yeah, it's a troll. Yeah. It figures. You know, at least a higher class of troll than the usual, though. They paid to troll. So. I mean, they also paid to get banned. Sorry, Leon. Thanks for the $5, but you gotta go. Your trolling has derailed the episode and given me a queasy feeling in my stomach. So congratulations, you done trolled it. But yeah, now you're banned. There you go. We hardly knew ye, and thank goodness I didn't want to know more about you, Leon. Catch you, you know, next time you make another account to pay me to say something creepy. 2 guns, no ammo. You hear about the Facebook porn hack? I did not hear about the Facebook porn hack. That sounds interesting. What happened there? Hide your kids, hide your wife. Yeah. My hair looks stellar today. It's just fucking in a ponytail, dude. Or a bun thing in the back there, because I washed it and it takes fucking literally a year to dry. And so I didn't want it sitting on my shoulders. That's all I did. Took a shower this morning. I didn't even really wash my hair this morning because it doesn't need it. I washed it a couple of days ago and it's not ready for that. I just got it kind of like rinsed out, put a little conditioner in it, throw it up in a ponytail. I don't know. I've been having some like second thoughts about keeping the hair long forever, but I've been having second thoughts about the hair from the very start. I wanted to grow it out. Now that it's grown out, I've kind of developed a routine around fucking like maintaining it and stuff. But there's no denying that it would be way, way quicker for me to just shave this shit off. You know what I mean? Like it would take less time for me. Yeah, if your comment or like super chat is gonna get me put on a fucking watch list, then it's gonna get banned. Keep it to yourself, huh? I got sick of long hair recently and buzzed my whole head for the first time in 15 years. Feels amazing. Yeah, dude, I haven't had long hair in a long fucking time. Or I haven't had long hair for that long of a fucking time is what I meant to say. I imagine it would feel really weird though, because I have had it for, I don't know. I'm trying to remember. The last time I cut my hair was when TJ shaved my head for Cinema for Cynics. That was the last haircut that I got, and it's been growing out since then. So probably 2 years now and change. Close to 3. Yeah, now that I think about it. The beard is about as long as it'll ever get. This is like basically a 10-year beard here for me. This is the terminal length and size of my beard. I don't trim this beard at all. This is where it goes. Everybody's hair has a terminal length, and this is the terminal length of my beard. So this is as bushy and crazy as my beard will get. My hair is still growing. I use beard oil and beard balm to keep it from getting all itchy and crusty. As wiry and shit as it looks, it's actually a really nice soft beard because I take care of it. And because I take care of it, it's not a problem for me to have. People that grow out beards like this and have problems with them don't take care of the skin underneath the beard. Shave so you can redo the fun process. I mean, this level of beard would probably be back on my face. If I shaved butt-ass clean, it would probably be back to this level of beard in probably like 3 months, I would say. 4 months. It does not take long for my beard to grow out and reach its terminal length and shit. Ever try to straighten it? Nope. I like the way it looks. I like the way it looks naturally. You know, everybody's got their own kind of beard. You got to floss what you got, you know? And I like mine. I don't even know how you would straighten your beard. It's a weird question. I don't even know if that exists. You wish more people had beards? Why? There's just the right amount of us out there with beards. Just the right amount. They sell heated combs for beard straightening. No, thank you. Why would I want to straighten my beard? It's not straight. Paul, do you like weird 1960s culture? I mean, I like weird subcultures and learning about them and stuff. I don't know if I have a particular affinity for the 60s or not, but... I mean, yeah, dude, I'll never have that kind of fine, longer beard that can be whisked like Pai Mei, you know what I mean? I can't do that, you know? I've got a Viking beard. I've got a beard that would just be covered in frost and you'd see my ass coming at you with 2 fucking hatchets at the head of a dragon boat coming out of the mist in a tiny little English town. You'd be like, oh shit, the fucking Vikings are here. If I knew the whole Misty Mountains song, I would sing it for you. I could sing it, but I'd have to have the lyrics in front of me. I don't know every word. Your beard is a metaphor for your sexuality, is it? Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that is how I approach sex. Like a Viking raider with 2 hatchets coming out of the mist at the head of a fucking longboat. Poor Larry King. Never get to watch one new episode of Larry King's prostate report ever again. Dude, I can't believe Larry King lived as long as he did. I'm not trying to downplay it or whatever. Anybody, you know, died. And clearly, like, he died because he got COVID. Had Larry King not got COVID, he might have been around another fucking 20 years. Who knows? But the dude he was ancient. He's old as the goddamn fucking hills, man. He lived a good full life, you know. Yeah, 87 is a solid fucking year to live to. You can't be really salty about croaking at that age, I don't really think. You know, if you made it that long, you'd... Well, yeah, dude, Larry King has been fucking ancient since I was a kid. If he's 86 now, that means, you know... When I was a fucking teenager, he was already 60 something. It's like, fuck. And he has, well, no, I mean, like lately, if you look at Larry King from like 1990, you can tell the difference between 60 and 80. Larry King at 80, it's just because we saw so much of the fucking guy that he aged in front of us. And so it seems like but no, you can tell. He's looked, I mean, he looks similar, but. And the dude kept on working too. Say what you want. I didn't really like his show all that much. I found it pretty boring, but he did a fucking job and kept working all the way till he died. Basically, I mean that's a good life. Good for him. Good for Larry. He done did it. He lived well. Had like 10 different wives, He lived him some life. Chappelle, Rogan, Grimes, and Musk all got COVID too. Yeah. Not everybody that gets COVID dies. A lot of people have gotten COVID now. A lot of people that never knew they had COVID have had COVID. I might be one of them. You know what I mean? I deal with constant fucking allergies and sniffles, and I'm a smoker, so I have a smoker's cough. There's a chance that I already went through my little COVID period and didn't notice it. You know what I mean? I don't know. Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck knows? Crazy bullshit. Get the vaccine, please. Get it as soon as you can. And get me mine as well, as soon as it can get to me. Hey, Paul, what do you think about Dave Chappelle's comments on black guys in dresses? He seems to be wearing some mighty long shirts lately. I don't know what he said about it, so I can't really comment. I'm not up to date on everything Dave Chappelle says. Family member is eligible, but there are no vaccines available for them. Yeah. Amelia's dad got his vaccine. And I have family members who work in the correctional system who I've heard have their vaccines scheduled. I don't know that they have gotten them yet, but the last time I talked to my mom on the phone, she said that my family members that work in that vocation are getting vaccinated. Those are the only people that I know that have been able to access the vaccine. Amelia's dad is a doctor, and my family members that I'm just discussing here are correctional officers. I'm probably going to keep wearing my N95 cloth mask for the rest of my life. I don't blame you. I think a lot of people will probably do the same in like really, really like crowded places, especially. It is a chilly day, I gotta say. You know what I need? Coffee. I made coffee and I forgot I had some. That's gonna warm my ass right up. Give me a second, I'll be right back. Won't take me long to pour a cup of coffee, and that'll help warm up the weary bones. Aki, if you please. Aki, Aki, Aki. I can't wait for the moment the push Biden to the left crowd realize that he played them like a damn fiddle to get power and will never help them. See, the funny thing about that is that a lot of people that were in the push Biden left crowd won't ever get that. There are certain people who, like, despite the obvious pattern of American politics, just don't get it. They believe that this is, and they'll do it again. They'll watch another fucking right-winger get elected in response to the weak neoliberalism of Joe Biden. And they'll go, oh my God, we gotta unite behind whoever, anybody but this guy. And we'll get another neoliberal, and then the cycle perpetuates itself. And those people some of them always and forever feel like that they're doing something real good for the country. They get lost in this fucking moral fog of lesser of two evilism, which doesn't exist. Evil is evil. The degree doesn't matter. If you want to talk evil, then evil is evil. And this lesser of two evils fog that hangs over some people never lifts sometimes in some people's lives. They look at it and they go like, yep, this is working. It's like some fucking slow unfolding 40-year chess game. There's a train going by. What do you mean, am I under attack? Have you never heard a train? Can you guys do a DFF special where you review Biden every year? No. I believe in a lesser than two evil. How are there not levels of evil? Is Biden just Hitler? I don't believe in evil. I'm not the one that invokes evil in my political argument. It's lesser of two evils, people. And if evil did exist, I don't believe it exists in degrees. I believe that evil is evil. Rather than a shillelagh, you should get Gandalf's staff with a pipe at the head of it. I want a por qué no dos? Why not a shillelagh? That's also a big fucking bong. That would be pretty dope. I bet it could be done too. A bong lele. Think I'll take a walk outside now. The summer sun's calling my name. I hear it now. I just can't stay inside all day. I gotta get out, get me some of those rays. Everybody's smiling, sunshine day. Everybody feels so happy and gay. It's a sunshine day. The sun's coming out. Yay! It's been cloudy for the last couple of days, so this is nice. A little bit of sun. You can use a didgeridoo as a walking stick and a smoking device. Maybe that's what I need then. I need a didgeridoo. I've heard a little bit about the ongoing protests in Russia, but not a lot. I saw some footage today of protesters breaking a police control line in St. Petersburg, and it looked fucking insane. But that's about all I know. Anti-corruption protests. So mass protests against government corruption and cronyism. Your idea of nukes might ironically save the world. One of the only ways to delay the carbon feedback loop is to reduce heat from the sunlight. The easiest way to do that is to have nuclear winter. Hey, nuke the sky. Nuke the sky. I knew it all along, man. Just trying to save us all along. Goodbye, blue sky. Isn't that part of the fucking mythology in the Matrix? We don't know who fired first, us or the machines, but we do know that it was us that scorched the skies. Tried to choke them off from the sun so they wouldn't be able to power themselves. Little did we know we would be used as Duracells. Apparently, dear old Putin built himself a gigantic billion-dollar Versailles-like compound with embezzled money. No, what? No. Putin did no such thing. No. You must be mistaken. You must be mistaken, comrade. Putin would never do such a thing. Embezzling money? Pish-posh. I'm going to report you, by the way, comrade. You're having bad thoughts about Putin. It's probably a dumb question knowing your philosophical opinions, but what do you think of homesteaders who live somewhat off the land? Oh, it's a dumb question. I just don't think I have a real super, awesome answer for you. I mean, more power to them, I guess. If there are a few people out there that can pull that shit off to a limited extent. I really don't believe that off the grid exists on this planet anymore, except for in maybe a very few places. And even then, it's subject to you being discovered, and then you're no longer off the grid. Being off the grid means, in my mind, not only are you severed from society in a way that that you can't interact with it, but nobody knows that you're existent. If you don't tell them, nobody knows where you are, what you're up to. That's being off the grid. It's being off not just the electrical grid, but being off the intelligence grid. Nobody has eyes on you. Nobody knows your whereabouts. You can move around as you please, and that sort of thing. The people that can pull that off, more power to them. But I really don't believe there's any such thing. Nobody's truly off the grid. Anybody that's living on a patch of land that they don't own is subject to eviction from that land. And, given the right amount of pressure and time and impetus, the government that owns that land will come and kick you off of it. The private company that owns that tract of land will discover you living on it and have you removed from it. That's just all there is to it. You struggle with the concept of owning land? Well, you should, because it's a fucking absurd concept. It's how do you own something that is absolutely necessary generation to generation for people to use and live on and walk through and build on? It makes absolutely no fucking sense. It's a fundamental flaw in the capitalistic system. The fact that people can own vast tracts of land and do nothing with it. By the way, there's no impetus on anybody to build anything on their land. In fact, many people don't. Many people own 80, 90, 100 acres of land with nothing on it, other than a fence around it with a trespassers will be shot thing. It's like allowing people to cordon off part of the world. It makes no sense. the same as fiat currency. You can own a bunch of land just because people believe it because a piece of paper says so. Pretty much, yeah. I mean, anything purchased with fiat currency is similarly spurious. So when you've got an economy based on ghost currency that has no backing and no value other than what is agreed upon, then you have people that own vast swaths of America privately because they have this resource that's worth nothing other than what we agree it's worth. It makes no sense. Like, private ownership in general, to me, really, if you drill down into it and think about it hard, it makes very little to no sense. Like, like, I understand, like, maybe the idea of, like, private ownership of your shoes or some shit like that, but if you could have what you needed and what you desired to a limited extent, because nobody gets everything they desire, that's just not possible and sustainable, but if you could have what you needed to live, and you didn't have to worry about where you lived, you could, if you wanted to move, you just moved. If you needed a new pair of fucking jeans, you just got it. You needed a fucking car, you ordered one, and it came for you. Not your car, but a communally maintained conveyance. You know what I mean? Like, this idea is really, like, hateful to a lot of people. They go like, no. And it's even hateful to me to a certain extent because I was raised in this fucking country and I have this idea of having, like, this is my place. Stay off my place. But in actuality, the reason I'm like that is because the next person over is like that and everybody else around here is like that. This is my place, that's your place. If things were different, I'd probably be better off and I'd probably be happier as a result. So I can look past my own psychological aversion to this idea and see the wisdom in it. Would people bother to take care of anything if no one owned anything? Why is it that you think, especially at this point in time, that a far-flung future society where we've abolished private ownership, that people would have to do most of the maintenance on anything? I mean, we're spitballing here, and we're talking about something that, in actuality, there's a very, very, very low chance of anything like it ever happening. But let's be honest here. Let's be honest about our capabilities. Jason, doesn't it feel fucking bad when you jump in too early? When you type out a really dumbass fucking comment and then I finish my sentence and talk about how I don't actually believe it's going to happen and how we're talking about a hypothetical, but you already splashed out with your dumbass fucking use of the 50-cent college word utopianistic. Oh my God, man. That's one of the things that I'm glad I don't do, dude. Because, like, dude, Jason, do you have no shame, Jason? This is utopianistic garbage, and it splashes across my screen, like, just after I finish up talking about how, like, none of this has ever happening. We're having a hypothetical conversation about a non-existent future. Utopianistic garbage. Utopianistic garbage. Post. Whoops, he wasn't really advocating for this. Just having a conversation. That's utopian. Yeah, like what's wrong with that on the face of it? Jason gets it harsher than everybody else does, dude. I expect more from Jason because I know him. I have plenty of friends who honestly hope Elon Musk saves the world. It's gross. Well, you have a lot of dumb fuck friends, Jason. I don't know what to tell you about that. I mean, if you've got friends that think anybody's going to come save the world, you've got some dumb fuck friends. I don't know what to tell you about that, but don't push that shit off in my fucking chat. Don't paint me with that same brush. I ain't your other friends, motherfucker. I'm not a dumbass. You may not agree with the way I look at things, but, I'm comfortable in saying I'm not a fucking dumbass. I believe it's possible for us to do these things or something like it. I believe it would be totally possible for us to abolish the idea of private ownership, automate a lot of, backbreaking labor, involve people in the work economy in ways that fucking benefit them, let people pursue what it is that they love, and automate away the things that people don't love to do. The simple drudge work shit. I think this is within the grasp of humanity within 100 years or 50 years probably, but it's never going to happen. It'll never happen. We will never voluntarily, as a culture, transition to a safe, sustainable, human misery reduction and planetary preservation centric society. It'll never happen. The profit motive controls everything now. Capitalism has taken over the world, and it's here to stay. It won't die until there's not a person around who can buy shit. And by that time, it'll be too late. I'm just baiting you into more Prim rants. I know you're not dumb. Now shut up. Shut up. You know exactly, yeah, dude, I fucking nailed exactly what happened, Jason. You jumped in. You splashed out a fucking comment. Didn't listen. Tulsi or bust. Yeah. Let me see if I can. All right. I guess I got to go put up the barrier again. Yeah, I know Larry King died. Why are people always like death heralds? We'll talk about it. Twelve o'clock. Okay. Nope, that's gonna need to be fixed right away. Got to get a little farther over than that. Ugh. I don't think this is gonna last very long, but for now it's fixed. Boo. Dude, we were just gonna. Dude, I was just gonna talk about this. Like, yeah, I heard Larry King died too. One of the weird things about doing these Highdeologies regularly is like, there are people that are like, there are some people that are like fucking like extra. They're like the town crier. They come in these streams and they're like, ding 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 ding, extra, read all about it. Larry King dead at 86. Ding ding ding. It's like, what's going on? The town crier, dude. 12 o'clock in Old Wales. People have a curious fascination with death. It's not just death, though. Like, I get, like, there's some people that are like a news ticker on CNN for me. Like there are some days that where it's like a hustling and bustling news day or something. People will be like, "Doo doo 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 doo." There's like a couple of people in my chat that are like, "Doo doo 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 doo." Extra, extra. Coming in on the wire. Sorry, getting up. You know what I mean? It's like, I'll catch up, dude. Unless a fucking nuke went off somewhere, don't tell me about it. Don't worry about it. I too can look at the news. You're very good at belittling people and making it funny. Sweet. Awesome. You're like in 30 different news eras. That's just how I think of them, though. Like, bulletin. RKO bulletin. Live news from the front. The boys are pushing back the Hun. I'm like, all right, that's good. Yeah, I'll go read CNN when I'm done with this, too. You're gonna grab some lunch? Oh, all right, dude. See ya, Pranobs. Dun 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 dun. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you some breaking news. Did you hear that an 86-year-old man that everybody's been speculating was gonna die any fucking second now died today? Why did I lose my Spectre status? I don't think you ever had Spectre status, Condo Paul. But you're about to get banned status. Don't waste my time. Troll, but don't waste my time. I could go for a juicy burger right now. Not me. It's too early in the morning to eat that greasy shit. I could go for one of those maybe later, but this morning, dude, mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. I might look at the egg situation and make myself some scrambled eggs. No, dude, I have my scrambled eggs down. I don't want no pancakes. Pancakes and waffles, that's too heavy for me right now, dude. A couple scramby eggs and a piece of toast would be a good breakfast. I could eat that and it wouldn't upset my fucking stomach and shit and wouldn't throw me into a weird fucking state for the day. I can't eat those big ass fucking giant ass steak and eggs type of breakfast unless I eat them later. Who's fatter right now, you or TJ? Probably me, I would guess. I don't know, though. I don't know what TJ weighs, and I haven't weighed myself in, like, 6 months. If you're eating pancakes for morning, I don't know how you could eat anything else in the day. I mean, I'm not that crazy. I can eat a lot of food. I'm just saying in the mornings, I can't fucking pack myself with that type of shit. Pancakes are literal dessert for breakfast. Says you. Says you. I can eat Belgian waffles and then pancakes. LeMayo. I like when people triple and quadruple their O's and their LeMayos. LeMayo. Extra fucking LeMayo on that sandwich, please. Paul, what is your favorite place that you've lived? Probably Washington State. being from the West, have you ever had dough gobs, basically Native American pancakes? Yeah. That's not what we called them. I remember them being called something else, but I know exactly what you're talking about. And I have tried them, yes. We didn't call them dough gobs, though. Batter discs, yes. Edible frisbees. Not the British flapjacks, no. Fried dough, yeah. Native American pancakes from where? From Native America. Duh. How do you feel about crumpets? What is a crumpet? I know what like a scone is. I served many a scone. But I don't know what a crumpet is. What the fuck is a crumpet? A fat pikelet? What the fuck is that? The fuck is a pikelet? A biscuit? Man, you can't even tell me what a goddamn fucking crumpet is. It's basically a biscuit. Then why not call it a fucking biscuit? Yeah, if it's a biscuit, then just call it a goddamn biscuit. The fuck is this crumpet shit? Crumpet. No, don't send me any links. It's an English muffin. Oh. An English muffin. A crumpet. Is that what it is? A crumpet is an English muffin? If so, I'm down with a crumpet. Listen to the sound of crumpet. Hello, baby. Did you know a crumpet is an English muffin?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I just had to learn that.
Yeah. You don't remember the bloody crumpet from the American Horror Story cult?
Oh, yeah, that was an English muffin.
Yep. The bloody crumpet.
The bloody crumpet, dude. Yeah, that's right. Shit. Why would you take an English muffin, which sounds really tasty, and call it something that sounds like a venereal disease? Like if somebody was like, "Oh man, I think I caught the crumpet the other night." Like I would believe that they were talking about some horrible infection of the reproductive system.
Like, just the fact that they use the word crumpet instead of English muffin in a fucking horror TV show should tell you that it's a bad name.
Yeah, it's a bad name. Crumpet is terrible. But crumpets, like, if that's what they are, if it's just an English muffin, then that's good shit. You toast that up, you put a little butter on it or a little jam on it. It's good stuff. It's a good breakfast. I was telling them that I feel like making scramby eggs today if we've got eggs. Do we have eggs? All right, I'm gonna make some scramby eggs for us this morning then. I'll finish up this here Highdeology and make us a nice little breakfast. I'm feeling it this morning. You know what happened? I dreamt something last night.
Yeah.
And in part of that dream, I was sizzling up some serrano peppers in the same pan as I had my eggs. And I was just
I
like,
don't know if the Serranos we have are.
they're probably not good. That's fine. I don't need the Serranos. I want the eggs. The eggs were the star of that show. McMuffins are the best thing on any fast food menu for your money. I mean, that's probably true because what you get on a McMuffin, like the standard McMuffin, is a scrambled egg.
Or like a weirdly hard fried one that's just in the shape of a muffin.
Well, whatever. Like, yeah, an egg, fried or scrambled or whatever, which is pretty fucking like non-processed.
Yeah.
Then you get like a slice of that ham, Canadian bacon style ham, right? And then it's like bread. So it's probably the least processed thing because it's an actual slice of meat. It's not like a mishmash of mystery meat.
It's ham. It's not.
It's a slice of ham,
salami or whatever.
right? And then it's an egg and bread. So that's probably right. It's probably one of the like least processed things you can get at a fast food place.
I know you can get oatmeal at Starbucks. I do that sometimes.
Oh yeah. I'd quit before they started the oatmeal shit, but yeah, I know you can get it now.
It ain't fancy. They just give you.
That's good. I don't want fancy. You can't really fancy up oatmeal all that much. Where in the U.S. would you recommend a holiday destination for a European tourist? All right. Well, I mean, assuming COVID is not a factor and shit. Yeah, right. Assuming we're talking about like you can travel safely, because there's a lot of places that I would tell you to go, but not during COVID. Like, I'm not going to recommend you go to destination spots during COVID. This is assuming, we've got that at least somewhat under control. Everybody's vaccinated. The major businesses at least have reopened. I don't know, man. I don't want to steer you wrong, and I'm not as well traveled as some other people are. But I know that the two cities that have totally blown me away that I've been to in America are coastal kind of cities, New York and Los Angeles. Those are the only two cities that put me in a state of awe when I'm flying into them or thinking about them or remembering what it was like to be in them. I spent more time in LA than I did New York, but New York left an indelible mark on me.
And
so I would say
a shit ton of cool stuff around it too.
That's kind of why I'm trying to give him that advice. It's because it's like, I hate to give you the touristy advice of go to a big destination city, but you really should go to New York.
And then you can split off there into a bunch of little museums and little fucking landmarks and shit.
You can do that you got to pick a coast. Yeah. You have to understand that like America is huge and the East Coast feels very different than the West Coast. The northern areas and not just politically, I'm talking like climate-wise and history-wise and culture-wise. America is very much like the EU in terms that you have people that share borders, but across those borders can be totally different cultural histories and traditions. Some shared, some not. So we have these common American traditions that you'll find pretty much everywhere you go. And then you have these regional dialects and regional traditions and regional architecture and regional food. And it's going to change no matter where you are in this country. And that's kind of why it's hard to give you a recommendation about like where, if I'm going to go on holiday or whatever, and I'm going to see America, like where should I go? I can't answer that for you, but I would say that your best bet is to find yourself adjacent to a large city because there are so many amazing things to do and see and eat and experience in New York City. Same is true for Los Angeles. So many things that are within an hour of that city that are fucking mind-blowing, amazing. So I'd say start there. It depends. It really depends on
car.
Yeah. It depends on what kind of vacationing you like to do too. Or are you more like I want to see natural beauty type of backpacker type vacationer, or are you like I want to see all the sights and eat at all the fancy restaurants and go to the destination places? I don't know. It kind of depends. You should say where not to go. Yeah, that's a good point. Don't go to the South, with the exception of a few places. New Orleans is really rich in culture and music and food and history. And if you want to experience it, but do it safely. If you're going to be traveling in the touristy areas or off the beaten path in the New Orleans area, get a money belt. Don't fucking give your money to anybody on the street. Don't imply that you have money. Just be normal. Like be cool about it, and don't stop and take any flyers or talk to anybody who tries to engage you on the street, and you'll be fine. So go ahead and go to New Orleans. Texas, I won't give it a bad rap either. Austin is a totally dope town. So if you want to go to the South and get a taste of that isn't a complete insane nightmare, go to fucking Austin, Texas. Go to New Orleans and be careful.
Florida is like, I've been there a bunch of times. I couldn't say that it's worth going to Florida.
There's one place that I would tell people to go to in Florida.
Yeah.
I've been to Florida twice. Once was Orlando. That is not the place that I would tell people to go in Florida. Orlando is a fucking nightmare. Pensacola. The Panhandle, Pensacola Beach is one of the most unique and beautiful beaches that you'll ever see in your entire life. And if you go during the off season, there's hardly anybody on it. Yeah, it's cold because you're by the beach, but if you're not there to like be laying out and get a suntan, you just want to be near the water and walk and be near some of the most beautiful, idyllic beaches you'll ever see in America.
Yes,
Boom.
I know I've gone to Florida like 10 times and not gone to Pensacola.
I went there one time. I had a little fucking time off of work and drove down there and made like a weekend out of it, and it was fucking really pretty. And we went during the off season, so it wasn't like during the summer and shit. I've heard that whole town is just horrible because it's just every beach is packed to the gills and shit. Is there ever cold in Florida? Yeah. I mean, it's cold in the winter in Florida. It's not like the same type of cold as you'd get in like Michigan or Maine or some shit, but it's cold. It's not like you can't just like go on the beach in a bikini in Florida in the middle of winter, and just lay there. It's not sunny all year round. Same thing in California. It's like LA's got a lot of sunny beaches, and a lot of people know California for its sunny beaches, but it's fucking colder than a witch's tit in the winter near the coast in California. And it's, I appreciate the ocean not for its climate. I just like being near the ocean. So I don't really care if it's colder. I don't really care if it's warmer. I like going when it's warmer so I can go swim in the ocean and shit, but it doesn't deter me from going near the ocean because it's cold. I just like being adjacent to it. It's like 50 degrees in the winter, basically a Minnesota spring. Yeah, there you go. If you like wine, you can go to Santa Barbara and upward. There's some cool vineyards north. I mean, California in general is a good destination because California is a unique state, in my opinion, in the United States, in that it just has every kind of biome that you can find in the United States exists within California. So if you're like a natural beauty traveler, you can't do better than California for a destination. If you're going to spend all your time in one state to see a lot of natural beauty, you're not going to do better than California. California has beautiful high deserts. We got to drive through some of those way back when. California has beautiful forests, beautiful redwoods, beautiful beaches, beautiful mountains, beautiful oceanside towns, all of this little stuff, all of these little, beautiful rolling grasslands and foothills, and there's a rainforest in California. It's just, What do you like most about living in Washington? The public transit, the way that the cities were laid out to be functional and not like sprawling. The climate was really awesome there. Like it just, I don't know. Like the hottest it ever got in the summer was like in the 80s. And I remember like I lived in a place that legit didn't have AC because it just wasn't necessary.
Yeah. Although it sucks when you don't have AC and then it's one of those summers that it gets to like 99.
That happened a couple of days the year that I lived in Bellevue. And all that I had to do was here's what I did. When I saw one of those days coming, I would open up all my windows at night and put those fans in them and blow all this cold air into the fucking apartment. And then when I would wake up in the morning and shut all the windows and close all the drapes. It was fine. Like it never stayed hot because like for it to seep into to a building like that that's insulated, it's got to be hot like that for like 5 days. It never does. It just never did that to us. It got hot a couple of days. 90% of the days in Washington that I had were just mild, beautiful weather. When it rains there, it feels like it just comes down in a little pitter patter. Like I never really had what I would call a storm.
It doesn't dump ass in Washington like it does in some other states, for sure.
It kind of rains a little, drizzles constantly in Washington, but it doesn't rain like it rains in Louisiana or Texas or even, where I grew up. It's a pitter-patter, kind of sprinkly kind of rain, and I like rain, so the air there is very clean. There's not a lot of like insects that you'll find in other parts. Like, there's not really a mosquito problem in Washington.
It depends.
I don't know, dude. When I was living in Bellevue, I never got bit by a fucking mosquito. I never saw clouds of mosquitoes hanging over the water at any point in time in Seattle or Bellevue. Not like it gets in fucking Louisiana. Not like it gets in some other parts of the fucking country. God damn this fucking sun. Why can't you just go supernova already? Leave me alone. That'll hold it for a while. Whew. Man, it's cold out here. Are you cold?
No.
Oh, you're in a good sweater. You need your gloves.
No.
Las Vegas is only fun if you like tacky shit. That's not true. Vegas is fun. Like you just gotta like. I'm not even a big gambler, and I have fun in Vegas. There's a lot of cool shows. A lot of cool eats to be had there. I don't necessarily think you have to be an appreciator of all things tacky to enjoy your time in Vegas. Orlando is the worst place I've lived at in Florida. I mean, I don't know much about Florida. Like I said, I've been twice. I was in the Orlando area for a couple of weeks, and then I went to Pensacola, and I'm not impressed with what I've seen of Florida. And Orlando was like a fucking hellscape to me. So I don't blame you.
Sarasota is probably one of the better cities to live in Florida.
Yeah, I assume that there are better and worse places like any other place, but Florida. The climate there precludes me from ever wanting to live there. It's like Louisiana swamp, but worse in some places. Farther south, closer to the equator, more swampy, more fucking humid, just horrible. I didn't like it. Not for me. Sarasota's my hometown. It's pretty. Yeah, like I said, I'm sure there are pretty places in every state. But if I was, telling somebody like as a visitor to this country, like to avoid certain areas, I'd say like pretty much the whole South is probably avoidable. There's some cool things to see and do in the South. I'm not gonna lie and tell you
if you're just visiting from like another country, it ain't worth it.
Yeah, it really ain't. In my opinion, and that's coming from a fucking Yankee, you know what I mean? But I've lived down in the South, and I liked Texas. I won't shit talk Texas. They've got nice roads, and I lived in the San Antonio area, and it was not a bad place to live. It was comparable to the place I grew up in. And Austin was even better. So yeah, like I said, there are some bright spots down there in the South and some places that I'd say are worth visiting. But on the whole, if you get one chance to have a fucking vacation to see a little bit of America, I think there are better things to be seen elsewhere in fucking America, to be honest with you. So that's my opinion.
He looks so focused.
He is. He listening.
So focused.
Oh, Dirty D. Oh, you dust mop. Come here. Come see me. Let everybody see you. Everybody wants to see you. Well, the Vice City hate? Who's hating on Vice City? Why? Because Vice City is set like in a Florida-esque town? Like I'm hating on a video game? Nah, dude. Nah. That's not how it works, bro. That's not what we like to call reality. The South sounds like the place for fattening American comfort food. You can get that anywhere in America. The South is particularly good at it. There's particularly good examples of it in the South, but it's not like it can't be found anywhere in fucking America. Everywhere in America is fat as fuck. Everywhere in America you can get some greasy spoon, fucking down home, rib sticking, old fashioned, greasy ass American food. You don't gotta brave the fucking American South to get it. Would you recommend Atlanta? I've only been to Atlanta a couple of times. I've driven through it, I think, twice, and I've flown through whatever airport is in Atlanta, which is, by the way, the worst airport in America, if you want my opinion on it. Well,
I mean, Dallas-Fort Worth.
Dallas-Fort Worth is fucking bad. You're right.
Sheer size of it.
You're right. DFW, but I'm telling you, man, fucking Atlanta's airport is a nightmare. So no, I wouldn't recommend Atlanta. But you're right, dude. As you were mentioning DFW, I was thinking about the last time I flew through DFW, and I was like, wait a minute now. Let's hold this hot take for a second. You're right. On the whole, DFW is probably the most nightmare. Well, LAX is a nightmarish fucking place to fly into too.
The question is, like, do you have to go across the whole goddamn airport to catch your next flight?
Yes.
If you're on the same one.
LAX, if you have a changeover in LAX, unless you're really fucking lucky, you get to sometimes take a tram to a whole different building. Unless you're really lucky. Sometimes you land in a terminal and your flight is one terminal over and you can just kind of walk one terminal over, but that's so fucking rare. 9 times out of 10 you land in LAX with like 30 minutes to catch your flight and you shit yourself with fear because you have to ride 2 trams to get there. I spent time in Chicago O'Hare. I actually got laid over there because I missed a flight one time, and I had to get rerouted through O'Hare in Chicago. And it's the only time I've been to Chicago was the stop over there. And I will say this about O'Hare. I was there at a non-peak time. It was late at night. So that might have played into it. But as far as fucking airports go, it was forgettable. And for me, that's good. That means it was a good airport. Because nothing about it stood out as annoying or noticeable. It was just functional and it was there and it wasn't too sprawling and too big. And I was able to get to my gate and I sat there for a long fucking time because I had a long layover. I feel like that's a half-assed decent airport. Dallas-Fort Worth is a nightmare. Atlanta's airport is a nightmare. Sky Harbor in Arizona is a nightmare. You would like Glasgow Airport, not too big, not too small. Probably. I'd probably like a lot of little European airports. Paul, can you please tell me how you cope with depression and stress? No, not really. Everybody's stress and depression comes from different things and is different and needs to be treated differently. So how I cope with it is a very complex fucking thing that I can't just tell you in a quick little self-help blurb. If you listen to me here, you'll hear me talk very frankly. In fact, last night I had a very frank talk about my mental illness and how it manifests itself and how I deal with it. But there's no way I can easily package an answer to that for you. It's taken me a lot of years of learning how to do that. And there's a lot of little things that I can't put all in one easy blurb for you. Paul, what's the difference between North and South Dakota? One of them is north of the other. That's as far as I know. That's about it. There's no silver bullet for things like stress and depression. No, and there's no like self-help blurb, and there's no like one thing I can tell you that's gonna like open your eyes and give you a movie realization moment or something. I worked hard to learn how to deal with what I got. I'll answer specifics, but I can't just give you like a fucking boilerplate answer to a question like that. There's a lot of shit and a lot of learning that I had to do about myself to get there. Is Texas gonna become woke like Cali? I don't think Cali is anywhere near as woke as people think it is. I think a lot of people that haven't been in and around Cali think that Los Angeles is California, and that's just not the case. So I wouldn't really worry about that. These demographic shifts happen constantly. People are leaving California. People are also leaving the South. I was talking to Scotty about this actually before we filmed yesterday. We were just chilling and talking and waiting for TJ to take a poop or something. And I was talking about how, I can't remember where I read the article. I think it was an Atlantic article or some shit. It was talking about this like cross exodus that's happening where people are leaving traditional liberal stronghold kind of states like California, Oregon, and Washington and heading mostly for Texas. And then there are people that are leaving the South, and a lot of them are heading to California, Oregon, and Washington, Colorado. So it's becoming really common for people to kind of pull up stakes and move to a different place in the country. The article that I read posited that it was at least in part due to the deepening political divisions happening in the country, which I don't know if that's true or not. The difference between North and South Dakota is the South is full of meth and the North is a bunch of alcoholics. Well, there you go. Word straight from the fucking mouth of Naughty Priest there. And if you didn't know, now you know. In every part of America, urban areas are liberal and rural areas are conservative. That's pretty much the case, yes. That's a pretty much uniform truth. My town in Texas is getting flooded with people from Louisiana. Yeah, people are leaving Louisiana. It's kind of like the beginning of what is going to be called, I think, in the future, climate refugees. We're seeing like maybe the first and second wave of climate refugees. These are people that are pulling up stakes out of Louisiana because they've had their homes destroyed multiple times a year for 2 or 3 years in a row due to the increased hurricane activity in the Gulf. By the way, I lived in Louisiana for 99% of 2020, and I was in the damage cone of 8 Category 1 or higher hurricanes. It was a record-breaking year last year for Louisiana in the history of us tracking hurricanes. And it's going to be worse next year and worse next year and worse next year. So yeah, you're going to start hearing about people who are climate refugees from the Gulf, from the coastal areas in the Gulf, because these ever stronger, ever more powerful, ever more destructive, slower moving hurricanes are destroying cities at an alarming rate. Louisiana's roads are a fucking nightmare. Yes. God is getting mad, Paul. God is getting mad, Paul. I mean, there's whole swaths of Louisiana that are already sunk, and there are places on the coast, the Gulf Coast in Louisiana, particularly southern and southwestern Louisiana, they're going to be fucking completely and utterly underwater in like 10 years. So, and that's just the front edge of it, because the echoes of that are not just massive amounts of people fleeing unlivable areas. It's the economic devastation that comes with having to rebuild ports and losing all of the resources and that. It's going to be a fucking nightmare, guys. Buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy decade. Let's put it that way. Yep, that is true, Phoebe. I have a couple of rupees for you, comrade. Keep up good fight. Thank you. Thank you for rupees. No, it's not Paul. Everything is fine. By the way, I don't know if I thanked Mr. Naughty Priest. I always try and remember to thank Naughty Priest. I know he doesn't make a big deal out of it, but thank you as always for your support, Mr. Naughty Priest. You're a good guy, you. Louisiana was the worst overall state, according to U.S. News, mainly because of environmental disasters wrecking the economy and infrastructure. Well, I lived there for way longer than I should have, close to 3 years, about 3 years, and let me tell you, I agree. Louisiana is a monstrous shithole of a state, and I can't tell you how good it felt to put it in my fucking taillights forever. I literally screamed at the top of my lungs when I left Louisiana and entered another state, because I knew that barring some kind of fucking unforeseen thing, I will never set foot in that fucking state again. And good riddance to bad rubbish on that. Do 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 do. You won't even go there on vacation for some Radostas? Nope, I've had my last Radostas po' boy. As delicious as Radostas is, I mean, if I ever end up having to go there again, I'll go to Radostas. But if I have my druthers, I'll just never go there again. TJ and Scotty are not long for Louisiana themselves. They're looking to move out of the state too. It turns out I'm not the only one that can't stand living there. So they're going to, pick a place and move, and that'll be that. So I won't have to go to Louisiana to visit TJ and Scotty. Why did y'all move there in the first place? The short answer was it was cheap, and the guys had connections down there. Like family connections and business connections that they wanted to pursue. But the cheapness of living in Louisiana was its main draw, and the guys being kind of familiar with the area. Overall, I think it was the right move. It allowed us to build this show on what ultimately was basically a shoestring budget. If we had lived in a more expensive place and not lived communally at the start, I don't think we would have made it. So it ended up working out, but in the long run, was never going to be where I was staying. I haven't played Elite in a while. I want to get back into it, though, Garrett. I've heard about the big patches and shit. I haven't really read much about them, so I don't know tons, but yeah, I'm looking to maybe hop back into Elite. Oh, thank you, baby. I forgot to tell you I had some coffee.
That's okay. I saw you did. I just didn't feel like grabbing it immediately.
What do you miss from living in the tinderbox? I don't know. It was cool. Like, TJ and I have similar, like, sleep schedules and shit. And what I found cool about the tinderbox was sometimes I'd be unable to sleep, and I'd get up at like 2 or 3 in the morning or some shit and wander out into the living room, and TJ'd be up, and we'd end up just kind of like sitting there and smoking a joint and having a conversation and watching a movie together at night. And it was cool to have like a friend that had similar taste in movies that was around at times like that all the time. So that was kind of cool. I do miss the guys, honestly. Like, it sucks not being in the same room with them.
Not having Chelsea to
Yeah,
dine over.
exactly. I miss chilling with the guys and stuff. I didn't make this decision for us to stop doing this in person meeting shit lightly. You know what I mean? It was for the safety of everybody involved, and for my own safety, my own family's safety, and for their family's safety, all of whom I love and care for, because I got to meet all of them, and they were all very kind to me and kind of took me in as part of the family and shit. You know what I mean? And that sucks. It sucks to have a group of people like that all of a sudden you just really, it's not safe for you to be around them much. And that's one of the shitty parts about this fucking pandemic. And it's that way for a lot of people. Are southern states cheaper to live in because they're less desirable culturally or socially? Why do you think the cost of living there is lower? I mean, a lot of it has to do with tax law. Like, so in Louisiana, for example, there's no income tax in Louisiana. There's a flat state tax, but there's no state income tax in Louisiana. So if you make your income there, you have to pay federal income tax, but your Louisiana income tax bill is zero. Now, the same is true for Washington State. Washington State has no income tax.
But they have hella property tax.
They have property tax out the ass,
Yeah,
and high sales tax out the ass to make up for it. Louisiana is not so much like that. Like, Louisiana is a tax haven kind of state where it's like not a lot of the money that's gathered from taxes is poured back into public works, and so less money is needed for taxes. And so a lot of these southern states are impoverished and cheap because the tax base is so thin there, because the tax laws in those places are so friendly to big business and so open that they allow, people to basically keep most of what they make other than their federal nut, which everybody has to pay. So that, plus the kind of poverty that's allowed to continue because of the lack of social programs, I think drives the property values down in the South.
And there's no big, like, Facebook or Amazon headquarters or whatever there.
I mean, there's like fulfillment centers and shit.
There's none in Louisiana.
Not in Louisiana, sure. We're talking about like the South, though. Yeah. They're dotted around the South. There's big fucking places in the South and shit, but yeah, like
there's no big hub that pushes property prices
no.
high.
There's no like giant tech blossoming. Like Texas is the one kind of exception to the rule when we're talking about the South, in my opinion. Texas is in the South, definitely is part of Southern culture, but it is not of the South in the same way that other Southern states are. Texas does have hub cities where property prices are driven up. It's expensive. The closer to downtown you live in San Antonio, the more expensive the property gets. And there are tons of expensive areas around San Antonio. Same thing is true for fucking Austin, Texas. Property values are really high in Austin and the surrounding areas because it's a really nice place to live. The tax base supports enough of a social safety net to keep them running like a fucking desirable city, and thus the property values in those areas are higher than they would be in podunk, bumfuck, Houma, Louisiana, or...
Yeah. And you also have to consider, like, the flood risk lowers property values.
Of course. Yeah, being right up against the Gulf, in an area that's in a fucking major flood and storm zone drives the property values down too. But I'm telling you, like, it's mostly due to the fact that there are huge swaths of areas that are basically just forgotten in terms of public works, hugely impoverished, And with that, of course, comes crime. Poverty creates desperation, and desperation creates criminals. And so that drives property value down, 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 down. Because there's a lot of dangerous places in the South. A lot of places are dangerous to live in. Just the way it is. Austin is way more, but Dallas can be too. Yeah, I mean, any major city in Texas is going to have more amenities than your average southern city, in my experience. And I haven't been to every major southern city, but I've passed through most of them and been around the South long enough to see enough of them to know that Texas has got it going on when it comes to certain
You know what the cheapest
standards.
is? The Midwest is the cheapest because there ain't no goddamn bodies of water nowhere.
Right. Well, the Midwest is cheapest because there's nothing in the
Yeah.
Midwest. It's just it's farmland and question mark, and so yeah. Cost of living there is low because there's really no amenities near it, driving the property value up.
And it's probably safer too. It's just boring.
I don't know. I mean, you're probably right about that. But yeah, I don't know that I could. I mean, maybe to me, the way I like to fucking live, I guess it wouldn't matter. Maybe a Midwest state would work. It depends on the weed laws and shit more than anything, I think. But if I could find a nice little tract of fucking land and have privacy and shit, that's really what I want.
If I was kind of thinking Michigan because they have all those lakes too.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan is worth looking at, but I'm telling you, man, you want to talk about a different kind of fucking cold. You know that. You lived up in Indiana, so you know. Yeah. The farther north you go, the colder it's gonna fucking be. But that's why Maine is on my fucking list as well. Legal rec.
It's got a coast.
It's nothing but coast, basically. It's just like a big kind of toe hanging out in the ocean.
Coast and it's like the Canadian border.
But it's also like fucking snow up to your eyeballs. We'd literally have to learn how to do snow blowers and shit.
We'd have to get mittens like Bernie Sanders.
We'd have to have Bernie's mittens. Vermont is another place I'd like to fucking look at for us. Interestingly enough, Montana. Legal rec. Who knew?
Yeah, we might want to wait a little bit for it to distribute amongst.
It's just on the list, It's a place where I think you and I could fucking probably afford to buy a little chunk of fucking land. Nothing huge, not a ranch or some shit, but just like little piece of property.
Adrian Curry from season 1 of America's Next Top Model.
Yes.
She's got a big old place in Montana with her Avon money.
See?
Which can't be that much because it's Avon.
I don't know. If you're towards the top of the pyramid, you make a lot of money. So she makes a lot of goddamn money. I don't know. But I'm not looking for some big fucking opulent place. A little place. A little house on a piece of land that I can put a nice fucking privacy fence around. And where, I don't think I'll ever do this, but where if I want to get balls out naked in my fucking yard and run around screaming, nobody's going to know. That's the standard that I want to try and meet for a place to live. Some place that's adjacent enough to fucking, get groceries and go to restaurants and go out if we want, but is far off the beaten path enough to where nobody needs to come down my driveway lest they're delivering something to me. Or visiting me, right. That's the standard I want to achieve. I don't have that now. I'm closer to that than I was before. If I came out here in the fucking moonlight and shit, I could pretty much do whatever the fuck I wanted. And anybody that got an eyeful would have nobody but themselves to blame.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes on your own goddamn land. But I'd like the actual privacy of not having anybody with eyes on my shit, lest they're visiting me or delivering me a package. I want to have a little spot where I can't see a human being. Come join us New Englanders, Paul. Everyone is welcome. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Doesn't that conflict with your idea of abolishing private property? You criticize the system, but yet you live in it. Shut up, man. Dumbest fucking question that gets asked over and over again. Dude, if there was a way for me to go completely off the fucking grid in this goddamn country and live by the fucking convictions that I display when it comes to that, I would do so. I have no choice but to exist in the fucking country that I live in. I didn't choose to be born here. I didn't choose to make things the way that they are. And my other choice is to try and scrabble out an existence for myself out in the middle of the woods. Woods, by the way, that will be publicly owned land and that I'll get kicked off of. That's my choice. So don't be a dumb fuck. Use both hemispheres of your brain when you're chatting in here and don't ask stupid fucking questions. Thank
I
you.
mean, you gotta consider too, like, if you're in a place where you can get a big old plot of land, there's probably not that many homeless people.
I mean, I don't, like, look, dude. If I could fucking solve homelessness, I would do that and forego my plot of land. But what it would cost for me to get a little acre of land and have a little house on it is nowhere near what it would take to solve any single homeless person's problem, let alone the problem of homelessness in this goddamn fucking country. So, yeah, I have no fucking choice but to do what I do.
It's not like you can afford a whole ass apartment building, like, come live here.
Right. Like, I'm not Mr. fucking Moneybags or whatever the fuck. I'm not Elon Musk. Elon Musk could pretty much solve homelessness in this country if he wanted to. Jeff Bezos could, with a stroke of his pen, pretty much solve homelessness in this country if he so chose. I'm not that guy. I can't do it. So, I gotta make my way like you gotta make your fucking way. But if you think that nobody can talk about the idea that civilization is destructive and needs to be rethought, dismantled, or allowed to die without living off the grid, then what you're saying is that you can never hear the voice of somebody that has that opinion.
Yeah. Doesn't your favorite philosopher kind of own his own little
place? Derek Jensen owns, as far as I know, just a little plot of fucking land up in the mountains in Northern California. And nothing opulent or anything, but he's got a little spot up there, and that's where he stays. Like, I would never have read a Derek Jensen novel if he lived in a teepee in the middle of the woods. I would never have been exposed to his philosophy if he eschewed modern technology and was not able to get his voice out. So, it's just a silly fucking argument that needs to be moved past. Might have even been trolling, but it's one of those trolls that it's worth fucking responding to because there are people out there that really, that's what they come back to you with when you talk about anything that talks about changing the social paradigm, changing the economic paradigm, changing civilization's paradigm in general. They'll be like, oh, yet I see you are wearing clothes that you bought and you are streaming on a phone that you purchased.
It's like even if you made $1 million a year, that's only going to solve like 20 people's problems.
$1 million a year would be great for me, but I would have to give 99% of that to make any impact in about 15 people's lives.
Yeah.
And giving people money is not the answer to the problem, by the way. The problem of homelessness is a mental health crisis and a drug abuse crisis that has gone unaddressed.
A bureaucracy crisis.
For generations. You can't, that's why, and this may sound heartless for a guy like me to say, but generally, I don't give homeless people money.
Well, you've known homeless people like adjacent to you.
Right. And I'm not saying that I don't ever do it, but it's not that I'm stingy. If I've got $5 in my pocket and there's a homeless person, I'm probably not going to give it to them. Because they're going to, likely, if they are on the street, they are there due to some unaddressed mental health problem that they are medicating with some kind of fucking illicit substance, whether it's alcohol or some kind of hard drug. And there is such a fucking huge chance that money is going to go right up their fucking arm, or right up their nose, or right down their gullet in the form of something that's killing them. It does not address the problem. That's why this like libertarian idea of charity being what takes care of fucking homelessness is ridiculous. Handing these people money is not the problem. That's why, like, TJ has lately been talking about, like, just give homeless people homes. Well, I'm not against the idea of building housing for the homeless. Just plopping a homeless person in a home doesn't solve the problem. In areas where this has been done, oftentimes homeless people will wreck those homes and end up homeless again because the home becomes unlivable or they lose it. So just giving them a home doesn't address, you have to address the root of the problem. And as I see it, the root problem of homelessness in this country is unaddressed mental illness. A vast swath of people who are living on the fucking streets are there because they are mentally ill. Drug addicted,
If you just look
mentally
at the
ill.
stats, it's like they're probably at the bare minimum twice as likely to be homeless.
Yes.
Twice as likely to have no job whatsoever.
Not every homeless person is clinically mentally ill, but the problem of homelessness as a widespread problem, mental illness is right there as a fucking root cause. And it's not being addressed in this country. I can't answer that question, Rocket. See, I don't know how much of the mental fucking problems people suffer is due to the weird fucking societal norms that we all have to conform to. I don't know.
But you do know that, like, mental illness makes it hard to exist in terms of, like, having a job.
Absolutely. Depending on the severity of your mental illness, it can make it a nightmare, from between a nightmare to completely impossible for you to hold up the standard of a 40-hour week job to support yourself like is expected of you today. And that's why so many people are on the street. Some of those people are lucky enough to have a safety net. Some of those people are fortunate enough to be in a position where they can be medicated and they can work a job. But most of those people are denied access to that. And what happens when you can't work to support yourself?
It's like, they call it, like, activities of daily living. That's, like, kind of the measure of how disabled you are with mental illness. Like, there's some people that can't, on their own, like, manage even, like, getting all their, like, stuff done that comes with living in a house.
Taking care of their own, like, hygiene and the upkeep on their home is something they can't do on their own. So giving a person that is that mentally ill, plucking them off the street and putting them in a house, you're not solving their problem. You're just not. Yeah, you're giving them a place that they can crash out for a month, but they're just going to do drugs in there. They're going to fuck it all up because they're not capable of taking care of themselves. They're mentally ill. They need help. They need a social service that helps take care of them. And this is all possible in this country. There's enough money for us to address this. Like I said, a multi-billionaire like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos could solve this problem.
With probably community housing is probably the best way to go. Like,
they could set up a whole fucking nonprofit organization and infuse billions of dollars into it and buy up tracts of tenement houses and rundown buildings and warehouses and shit, tear them down and build nice fucking housing units and set up a nonprofit organization that helped funnel people to mental health organizations and helped the homeless people that got these apartments, if they needed it, integrate into that life, gave them the on-the-spot care that they needed. If they were a person that couldn't live alone, they could infuse money into humane places, group homes for these people to live in where their needs are looked after and they live some kind of a standard of human fucking life. That could be done. It just isn't. That's your goal if you ever get rich? Well, it's a noble goal, but I hate to put this on you, but you won't. I may be wrong. Maybe you hit the lotto or something, and it's a noble goal, but there's a lot of fucking noble goals in this country and not a lot of ability to do anything about it. And that's just because of the paradigm. You have to be a billionaire to make an impact. You really do. At least a high multi-millionaire to make a true impact. And even then, if you're just a millionaire, you're probably making a localized impact, which is not to be diminished. But if you want to make a true impact on the problem of homelessness in a country,
especially with private health care, that's half the cost of trying to solve homelessness is dealing with expensive private health care
Yeah.
where the drugs people need to survive are hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars a month.
It's absurd. They can't get it. Portugal treated addicts and homelessness went down. Shocking. What a shocking number. I don't know why did that happen? Most rich people don't have anywhere near the amount of money needed to fully address these problems. No, you're absolutely right. I just said that.
They need to come together communally.
I said millionaires could make a very localized impact. And if millionaires started doing that or were forced to do that by taxation, then this problem could be solved. Period. Either through their own charity and their own fucking just like disgusting feeling in their stomach from living in such opulence in a world where there are people picking out of the garbage at night and sleeping under fucking rags in the cold. Or out of being forced to by a government who actually does the job of taking care of its people. Problem could be solved. The problem is that neither one of those two entities with the power, the government and the high billion-dollar corporate, they don't want to do that. There's no money in helping people. There's no money in subsidizing somebody's life.
Like they define the problem of homelessness and mental illness as like, look at this loss of productivity.
Right. Oh, they use it for PR. Yeah. They sprinkle these little, look at our community help teams. Our Amazon team went and did this at this soup kitchen. They do all that PR shit.
That's all write-offs.
Yeah, that's all. That's by the way, that's a tax write-off. It's one of the reasons why they don't pay anything to actually do something about homelessness. I'm all for you doing what you can. Go work at a soup kitchen. I've done it. Feed people. I've worked at soup kitchens. I've worked at fucking food banks. People are needed to do that, but don't think that's solving the problem of fucking homelessness. That's putting one meal in the mouth of one homeless person. Or a group of fucking homeless people. One meal. The problem is allocation of resources, period.
And I mean, in this country, they need food banks for people even that do have homes.
Now they do.
Yeah.
You saw the lines forming in fucking Texas for free food during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. Those people aren't homeless.
They got cars and
they still need to have their fucking food subsidized. Another reason is because America sold its manufacturing to China and other countries. Job loss was great in the 70s and 80s. Yeah, I mean, that's part of it, but at the end of it is the profit motive. Unions made it to where businesses had to pay a fair share of their profits to the people that made their products. And so the unions were busted, and the manufacturing base was moved overseas where they could pay foreign people pennies on the dollar. And America was just told to pull itself up by its bootstraps. And a lot of Americans, quite frankly, did their best to do that. Started small businesses, took out loans, took out second mortgages on their fucking homes so they could quit their fucking job that was being moved overseas. Started a little fucking mom and pop shop. Went to school and got the business education to back it or whatever. Got the training they needed to run the barber shop or whatever. And then look what happened to them. This pandemic pretty much wiped them out. There are areas in this country where like 80 to 90% of small businesses have shuttered permanently. What are those people supposed to do? Where are their bootstraps now?
Especially in big cities, it's like, think of how much, like these tourist destinations that you were talking about, how many jobs in those areas are
gone.
Face-to-face, serving people.
They're just gone now. Old man yells at capitalism. You're right. It's true. Old man does do that. What do you want me to do? I mean, as fruitless as it may be, I'm arguing for you. I know you've struggled financially, Brianna. I've heard about your woes. You're a longtime member of fucking Highdeology. I've heard a little bit about your life. Say what you want about it, but I'm arguing for you and everybody else besides. I'm yelling at the cloud for you. You know something else I could do for you? Let me know. You and everybody else besides. I know you got your stuff together, but you know what it's like to be on the bottom end of that. Don't forget that shit. I'm happy for you that you dug yourself up out of that, but don't get smug about it, Brianna. Remember what it was like to be fucking desperate and know that many, many people can't dig themselves up out of that. Well, I'm fucking happy for you. I'm glad you got your shit together. I'm glad you were able to fucking eke out an existence that's not based on desperation and shit. But remember when you were. You can't forget it. I'm sorry. I know you'd like to forget it, but if you forget it, you forget a piece of your humanity. There are people out there that can't do what you did. There are people out there suffering every fucking day, probably worse than you suffered. If you forget that fucking shit,
You were at that point very close to it when you first went out on your own.
what do you mean?
Like
Oh, yeah.
desperation.
Yeah. I know what that means, man. I was very lucky as a child to have a roof over my head every day of my fucking life. There was never a time when I was quote unquote homeless, but I lived on the ragged edge of fucking poverty for a long time in my childhood. And in my early years, when I went out on my own, my life was subsidized by nobody. Mama and dad didn't have money to send me, and I didn't ask them for money. I lived what we call hand to mouth or paycheck to paycheck. And I survived it. And you know what? I don't live that way anymore, but I've never forgotten what that was. I remember how that felt in the pit of my stomach. I remember what it felt like to go to the grocery store and fill my cart with 30-cent ramens because that's all I could afford to get. That was the best expenditure of my money. The little bit of money I had to put on fucking food was to just get 30-cent ramens. And that's what I ate for a couple of years of my life.
Canned vegetables.
Canned veg, top ramen, and every once in a while I'd have a couple bucks and I could go get a burger or something at a McDonald's. That was my life. That was what I did. That's how I subsisted. I had 2 roommates in a 2-bedroom apartment. I shared the master bedroom with my friend Rodney. The other bedroom... Come here, D. Come here.
Dinor.
Hey,
Dinor.
come here. You see how good that dog is and how bad you are? That dog didn't even react to you. Quit being a jerk. If you got in a fight with that dog, he would destroy you.
You might look little from far away, but he ain't.
That dog is a big dog and you're a little dog. Just the people walking that dog could destroy you, let alone that dog. Quit your barking. Dude, there's just a family like walking like a Rottweiler. And Dinor's like, "Rah, rah, rah." Like he's gonna go flex on that? No.
Dude, it's the terrier.
And that Rottweiler is better behaved than you.
It's that terrier instinct.
It is. That little yappy terrier fucking I think I'm bigger than I am shit. He's got that in his blood. Yeah, you are Joe Pesci. Except for Joe Pesci could actually fuck people up. You're soft as a muffin, Dinor. I don't know how to tell you that. You're muffin soft, bud. That's one of the reasons people love you. You're not rough and tough.
It's like, even though you, like, can scare your brother, it's only because you got, like, 10 pounds on him. Your brother's somewhat well behaved.
Yeah. The heck, D? Little man syndrome, or maybe he has a big heart. There you go.
Yeah.
It's got a little of both.
He wants to protect, but he can't attack.
Yeah. He protect, but no know how to attack. I know. That's why I don't shame him over it too hard. I just call his little butt back over here and give him a scolding. You know. It's like one of the reasons why I want to get a private place too. Dinor don't like seeing people. You don't like him coming near if you don't know him, so I don't want him to have to see nobody. I don't want to either. He's like me. I would rather there be trees around us and there be no people around us. I got nothing against them, but I'd rather just be on my own.
Why are you shaking? You cold?
I think he's probably cold. I'm getting cold too, and I want them eggs, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Bye, guys.